Hi there, Chris Martinson at Peak Prosperity here with your weekly update. I know I missed last week's update. I was traveling. I was at the New Orleans Investment Conference. Fabulous conference. I learned a lot, met a lot of great people. We had an extraordinarily wonderful breakout, very small, intimate breakout with a bunch of Peak Prosperity followers where we went through all the data. And of course, a big chunk of that data was energy data. Now, I happen to also be traveling. I'm in Munich, Germany at this point in time, and I'm at this museum where they're doing energy transitions as a theme. Now, how boring, you think, right? In America, this place would be a ghost town. It's packed. It's absolutely packed with people wandering through the most amazing energy exhibits I've ever seen, from looking at how they built transformers in the 1900s to electricity experiments happening live with Van der Graaf generators and all these amazing things. But they have in there a full section devoted to the idea of how are you going to manage an energy transition, the thing that we talk about all the time at Peak Prosperity. Hey, it's one thing to go from coal to oil because you're moving from a worse to a better, a more concentrated energy source. And nuclear and hydro also are very concentrated energy sources. But as they're noting in there, in this exhibit, there isn't enough of the so-called alternatives, there isn't enough nuclear, there isn't enough hydro for us to live the way we want to live. So what are the decisions? And how are we going to manage that energy transition? And so they have a great exhibit where they walk you through like 20 stations. You have a card and you put it in there and they ask you some questions, and based on the lever you pull and how you answer that question, you get a score that sort of tells you what your approach is. Now, I didn't agree with all the answer choices. I thought, if they gave 3, I could have thought of 4, 5, and 6 that I would have preferred to choose, but a little embarrassing moment here, picking the ones that were available. How did my card turn out? Well, here's my card. It turns out I believe in globalization. So not exactly the score I was thinking I was going to get. Thought I was more free market than that. But no, the truth is that these things that we're going to have to deal with, this is a global situation that we're dealing with right now. This is a global problem or predicament that we're going to have to face. It truly is. This isn't the Chinese versus the Russians versus the Americans, all that stuff that your media might be busy trying to convince you that it's an us versus them kind of a situation. It's not. It's just not. It happens to be all of us in this story together. So amazing watching all of these Germans come with all of their families and just absolutely packing this place on a beautiful Saturday. This is how they're choosing to spend their time. Pretty interesting. So that's been fascinating. Of course, this past week, what do you need to know about? Well, American politics is just crazy, of course. Markets even crazier. People here get that as well. Fascinating to have conversations here in Germany where the effects of monetization and printing, Mario Draghi, the refugees, all sorts of issues really weighing very, very heavily on people here as they understand that it feels like a set of top-down solutions are being pushed at them, and that these are really the things that are going to hurt them at the end. So, hey, that's my weekly update. I'll be back, in the saddle in the United States in my usual routine next week. But let's close with this. Let's just take a quick peek here at this beautiful thing that I've been perching on, which is this amazing turbine. It's just one example of a water turbine, and this is what would be required to generate about 80 megawatts. It's just a massive, massive piece of equipment. And so that's what we're seeing in the museum, and there's more massive pieces of equipment like this. Just fascinating. So with that, I'm Chris Martinson. I will see you next week.